Hi, everybody. This is another episode of the After Dark show. Today, I'm honored to have a very new friend of mine that I actually met when doing some work for Brian Sang over at the Full Disclosure Now conference. Her name is Jennifer Nunez, and she is the headmistress of Rise University. Yay, I did it. And just absolutely fascinating, like, just has a great modality of bringing spirituality and the metaphysical into your 3D realities and ways to interlace the two. And we're also going to get into some of her recently retrieved memories of the secret space program. But first, I just want to give her a chance to talk about what she's got going on with her program because it is fascinating. We've touched on it before, but Jennifer, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you first and foremost for having me on the show. I'm super excited and I love talking to Don behind the scenes and working with him. I am Brian likes to call me the webmaster behind the scenes for the Full Disclosure Now movement that's happening. There's a conference that's going to be coming up this July in St. Pete Beach, Florida, at the Serrata Resort. So, great lineup. Really enjoy working with everyone behind the scenes, and that's kind of how it ties into this story as well. Because what I do is I am headmistress of Rise University, and that is an esoteric school where we help visionaries take their ideas and create profitable foundations out of them. And we deal with the spiritual, personal, and business development side of things because whether you are stepping into a leadership role, sharing your story, running a channel, being an influencer, putting on a conference, doing something, selling a product, building an online school, it's going to come with some type of aspect of a business, or setting a foundation so that you can get your message out of there. And that's what we deal with at Rise University. And, part of my story that I'm going to share tonight, it makes sense why I am very technical behind the scenes. Those who have worked with me have asked me, if I went to school for learning how to do what I can do, and it's very technical. So website development, funnel systems, email marketing, graphic designing, web, doing videos, broadcasting, you name it. If I don't know it, then I'll learn it. And I literally am like Neo. When I don't know a program, I will ask for a download and they'll zip me with the file. And 3 days later, I can navigate it better. So there's some connection there. And the more that I dive into my story and I listen to other people's stories, I'm like, oh, yeah, I've always felt I've been put in some type of government project. Um, the SSP side of things, I will say I have a very strong tie to the planet Pluto. So I haven't uncovered any type of memories of fully being there, and I don't fully know why, but I know that it is very prominent in my story and even including in my astrological chart. So, and highly influenced by that planet too, which if you're not into astrology, the planet Pluto is the planet of rebirth. It's the death and destruction. It's the lord of the underworld. It is navigating the shadow side of things, and what you do with that is bring the shadow to light. You have to have a balance within this world. It's not just all light and it's not just all dark, even though the world is more leaning towards the dark side, but then we can get into like Star Wars stuff. There's
Yeah.
truth in it. You're muted, Don.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Okay. No, something you touched on there before we get too far into that is something that I find a lot with people in the SSP community, and I can even give the example of myself. is what you were just talking about there, how you're like, well, I need to know how to do this. And then a couple of days later, you just do, right? For me, okay, I think I was telling you about this. Like, I had my first major download when I was 5, and it was a physical experience. I do believe that I was taken into a different density and actually physically downloaded and brought back and put back into my bed. There's an entire thing behind that. But like with the info downloads I get at like 6 years old, I decided I wanted to be a sniper. What
Mm,
friggin' sniper? What 6 year old knows what a sniper is?
right.
Right. Well, the most recent awakening I had in September of last year was like I'm getting all these information downloads and I'm like, okay, this is great. What do I do with this? How do I use this? And you've figured out a way to be like, okay, I need to know this. And I actually did that the one time by accident. Again, this goes to the sniper thing. I was like, well, how do I prove that I can actually go to these places and do anything with this? And I was like, okay, I know about the military. I want to know everything. The next day, I woke up and put a project together to be on Typical Skeptic. And I sat there and showed Rob Khalil military bases from World War II all the way up to Space Force. Right. I knew the
Because you
location.
know, you're recalling your soul's memory through the Akashic records of being connected with the divine and the all, because it is true when it said when they say that, I'm not like religious, there is a creator and he knows everything about you because you are part of that essence in some way. So it's just connecting to that. That's the line of command that I say that I connect with, to retrieve that information. But yes, I understand what that feeling is, and you don't know how you know, but you know from your gnosis that it's different. It's coming from inside out instead of outside in.
Yeah. Like me and my partner, I just want to stay on this for a second because me and my partner have what we call our Faraday chats where we don't bring phones or anything anywhere near the conversation because, maybe it's crazy tinfoil hat shit, maybe it's not. But there's times when we need privacy. And there's times when her and I are talking when I just sit and listen to myself. Like the conscious being that is Dawn realizes that there is a higher strand of information coming through his physical vessel right now that he doesn't know because he doesn't have this level of indoctrination in this reality or this lifetime. But there is some straight facts coming out. And I kind of actually take a back seat to a higher stage of my consciousness sometimes. And I'm just like, oh my God, holy shit. Right. And I love that you're developing techniques on how to focus that because right now it's just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to listen for a bit. But I love that you've figured out a way to like, okay, I want to know this.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, I don't know, it's just something like so how my story goes is, um I was born in Houston, Texas, born and raised. I have a lot of people in my family that were involved in the military, different branches, different degrees of how much they were involved. And my parents divorced at when I was the age of 5, okay? And uh my father was one of the people that was involved in the military, and I can't quite remember what all was going on during that time, but it started the whole, what they do to separate the families every first, third, and fifth weekend, kind of thing. And my mom, she was not in the best places. So the first documentary that I came across when I had my awakening was the documentary of Kathy O'Brien and her story about her childhood and how they find women who have kids, low self-esteem, and someone comes in and they start programming their kids and using them for different operations. Um, mine was sexually abuse that happened. That was with my stepfather. He also worked for the military. He also worked for people who did computers, and it's important that I say that because I know There are people that are within the SSP program that have been used in programming different technical operations. If you want to get into the Terminator was real kind of thing. I just posted in my stories about the black goo, which is real. It's actually this goo that goes in your body that has intelligence. And like this shit is freaking real. And I can understand that stuff on a higher level. So, um, one, my soul is here for this revolution that is happening on the planet. So that is one of the reasons why I came down here. I did go through a lot of abuse, sexually from my stepfather, and that is part of my story. And it's something that I had a really hard time working through. Um, but that is why we're here, because of what they do to us as children in all different degrees, because that's where it starts. They know who you are, they're going to pinpoint you, and they're going to fuck with you for pretty much your entire life. So, I remember the key period. There were things that had happened to me when I was younger that I'm starting to put puzzle pieces together. For example, very few people know this about me. I don't know what it is exactly. Still looking into it, but one of the things growing up that I had issues, and anytime I had a health issue, it was my stepfather who found the doctor and they would take me to the doctors for it. Is I have antennas behind my ear. They're actual antennas, and when you rub on them, it's like a ball that's inside of them. Do you have them? Do you have them?
Me and Finja literally both just found one behind our right ears. Like
Okay,
this.
very few people know about those. So, I don't know what they are, like, but I remember having problems with my ears, going to the doctor, um, for these, my one was my ears, the next one was my heart, just these different ailments. And it was always my stepfather that was doing it. And there were other things that were going on behind the scenes. I know that what they do with children and the pedophile side of things, like he had a cartoon instruction video to train kids on to do what to do in certain situations, to just say that. So, and that was the time VHS recorders came out, and I can remember being in a dark room with a red light turning on, and then I put two and two together and I was like, oh my God, he was probably recording the whole time. So you can imagine that by the time that he had left, and mind you, that was with me. I have other siblings that there were things that were going on as well. Um, one was diagnosed with being bipolar and schizophrenic. Now I'm starting to think maybe she wasn't, because of the claims that she was making, is like walking, being taken to a different planet, like all these things. So because of people speaking out and telling their stories, I've been able to like pinpoint and say, okay, there's definitely something that's going on with me. Now, what my program I feel was right around the time that my mom and my handler broke up. I rebelled, and I rebelled big time. And I was drawn to the movie, and this is when I say this, I'm like, man, that's so fucked up. But I was drawn to the movie Point of No Return. For those of you who know, Bridget Fonda was in that movie, and at the beginning of the movie, she was a homeless kid that was a junkie that kills a cop, and she gets executed, and then she goes into this government program where she assassinates people. So I don't know why I was drawn to this specific movie, but in the very beginning, but I can tell you that in the very beginning, that's kind of the life that I started to lead. So I was using drugs. I was putting myself in situations that I should not have been to. I have experiences that and most people won't experience in this regular lifetime. I.e., I was, under the government's property for many years, is all I have to say, because I was constantly getting in trouble, and I was constantly getting in trouble because I was constantly being watched, and they knew that what I was doing. So I would then, alcohol was my biggest go-to. So then I would drown myself into the bottom of a bottle, and that is how they kept me in this program. Now, mind you, I was a blackout drunk. I have no motherfucking clue what I was doing, what was happening to me when I was in a blackout. And that went on from pretty much the age of 15 till about 37. Okay. Mind you, I had a child during that time. Every relationship I got in that time were my handlers. I mean, it was constantly under suppression, constantly having to be monitored, watched, checked in, report to this. I mean, many, 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 many years. I'll stop
Uh,
there in case you have questions.
oh yeah, I've got about a third of a page of a notebook already just off of some of the things you've said. One, I just want to touch on something very metaphysical and beautiful that you touched on was about your soul understanding this reality. And it's a concept that I recently just kind of stumbled across is like a lot of this community is like, I'm having a spiritual awakening. No, you're a spirit having a human experience. And a lot of people don't
Yes.
realize that we're the energy that controls this universe. We're not going to get into that because that's an entirely different show. But I love that you are
We
aware
can,
enough
because
that
that is
you
part of
see
my
the,
story. That is part of my story.
oh,
But yes, we'll hit on that. You're exactly right.
yeah,
But
I
I
love
love
that
how
you
you put that.
mentioned that.
You
Yeah.
put that perfectly. That
Uh,
gave me chills. You're a soul having a human experience, because that's exactly what it is.
yeah. And here's a couple of things that I'm just going to skip through really quick if we want to go back over it. You said at 5 years old, that is a common data point for SSP experiencers. I had that dream when I was 5 years old. A lot of people have their first real trauma when they were 5 years old. Separation, destruction of family. This all goes back to these programs, and it happens almost every time. Around 5 years old, this happened to me. At 5 years old, this happened. I listened to it because this was an obsession at one point for me, because like when I woke up, that's all I knew about the metaphysical was that I was in the SSP, and it almost drove me insane. But
Mhm.
I've been able to grab this 5-year-old data point that that's the first time they start to fuck with you is when you're
Mhm.
5, because it's when you start to comprehend your reality and they take away your control of it.
It's important to know, because Don knows I love human design, for those of you who don't know. And human design is awesome, because if you want to know what avatar your soul is running around in, it will tell you that. But when you dive into human design, the 5-year-old knows. It's about getting back to the 5-year-old, because that is a point within once we're born, it's our cells repeat every 7 years, atomically. So cells are going to die off, new ones are going to grow, and those carry information with inside of us that feed everything. So the 5-year-old is a point where when you're learning all of the things that you're gonna react to, how you're gonna be, you're honest. I ask a 5-year-old anything. If you want the truth to anything, ask a 5-year-old. They're not gonna be There's no shutting down of, oh, don't say that. That's not nice, all those subconscious programs that get installed in us, and that is why they fuck with the 5-year-old, because that's the point where our subconscious is coming online. So it's picking up everything that's going to play out consistently through whatever program they want to put us in throughout our entire life. It's why many of us go through the addiction process, get stuck in all that. That's a whole psyop and filthy hole in itself. But it's when you get to the point of waking up, that's what happened with me in my awakening. It was like someone unplugged me. And my soul went zoop into my body and was like, no more. And night and day, like I quit drinking, I was self-medicating with Xanax. I quit that. I quit smoking. I started to eat healthy. My boyfriend thought I was talking weird because I kept walking around and calling people these humans. Like, I just couldn't. They would do something and I could read who they truly were, but with outside the projection of the mask, and it would be hypocritical. And they would do the opposite, and I would just laugh and I would say, these humans, and he was like, why are you talking like that in different ones? And the only way that I can describe it was that I was unplugged. And when I was unplugged, there were 3 days that went missing. I was completely sober when the 3 days happened, but from doctor's reports to hospital reports and accounts, and my sister and my best friend, I had an episode one night where they had to come pick me up. My car got a flat tire. When my best friend got there, I went, she said crazy. My sister said crazy. I ran into oncoming traffic. I jumped on a car like the Hulk, jumped over it, ran through a field, over a reservoir. I had the cops and the fire department chasing after me, and they had to strap me to a gurney because I had so much adrenaline running through my body. They could not hold me down. That right there tells me that that's part of some super soldier program, because that was like superhuman shit that is not normal for me. I'm not someone that I go to the gym now, but I'm not like running marathons or anything like that. And after that experience, when I came to, I knew that I was being spied on and that people were walking in front of my house. Like I was full on. So, yeah, that's my
Yeah.
experience, that my awakening.
And I find a couple of more things really interesting is like you're a very intelligent person, and I think we get our information from the same source, pun. Um, but after in public school, when I basically bucked the educational system, like I almost won this. I know my anybody that's watched my show has heard me say this, and I'm sorry. In grade 4, I almost won the science fair. In grade 5, I was taken to the Provincial Thinking Symposium, which is a bus ride there, 8 hours of blank space, and a bus ride back 15 minutes from a military base. Okay. When that didn't take, all of the sudden, when I got put into grade 7, I was put into the class with every kid that had access to drugs and alcohol, and I was sat in the middle of all of these little reprobates that already were on the wrong path because I would not take the indoctrination pill. They're like, fuck them, destroy them. And they did for many years. There was never a lack of drugs in my life. I could find anything I wanted at any time, and all of the sudden had money. It was handed to me to neutralize me. Same with alcohol. We have been broke as fuck for the last 5 years, but when I drank, somehow there was always money for a case of tall boys every 2 days.
I
It
know.
would just appear, right? You can't tell me this is coincidental that the ability I beat the same addictions as you, which is another parallel in the SSP, right? They keep you neutralized so they can fuck with you. But
And not to
absolutely,
mention the
like
interdimensional entities that fuck with us at the same time. So we're getting fucked with in the 3D, and we're getting fucked with interdimensionally. It's like 24/7.
yeah, that's something else too. Like that's the amazing principle that I'm becoming more aware of. Like we just finished watching a friend of ours, Steven from BG Cast, and he was talking an episode about Futurama where somehow they ended up in the second dimension, right? And they're trapped with these little reptilians, and they have to jump over these reptilians because there's only two. They don't have that third density anymore, right? And then the professor's like, we have to get back to the third density, and the reptilians are making fun of them, going, "That's nonsense. There's no such thing as the third density. That's the same shit we do right now. There's no such thing as the fourth density." But meanwhile, there's some gray motherfucker talking in a kid's ear telling them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a reptilian telling somebody that they're a failure or you should hurt yourself. You're worthless. Like These aren't our thoughts. Our thoughts come from pure source. The rest of it is interference.
That's so through my how when I started to get connected, something inside of me was talking to me. There was a voice that was coming from inside. I could feel it. And I would ask it questions and it would give me downloads. And not once did it ever give me the full answers. Like it would give me enough for me to know, and then it would start coming out and I would ask myself, "Oh my gosh, where is that coming from?" But that was so that I wouldn't second guess the information that was coming in, because up here I was still detoxing from a lot of the information and years of self-destruction, and realizing that, something was definitely going on that got my attention. But it's never told me to do anything to harm anyone or myself. It's all about it makes you on it sees a different perception, because the harm that we do to others, we're actually doing to ourselves. And if we don't make a change, and that's when, after I had my awakening and I started to dive into the different stories and learning about different things that were going on, I'm a solution girl. Like, what do we need to do to find solutions to get this to stop? And I think a lot of us, especially in whatever community, are now starting to get all on the same page of doing that, because you can get very stuck in that victim mentality, because it's true. We were victims, but I did not want to stay a victim. The more I stayed a victim, I was giving those fuckers more power. And I was like, nope, not going to happen anymore. What can I do to solve the solution? And like you said, it's been an interesting road. Like, I am self-supporting. It's not like I'm like banking over here. I haven't hit millions yet. And there've been times where I have gotten that resistance, where I encounter different people that are reptilian, are not even human, and some people can't even see that within the community, uh it's our community, whatever community. If you're in the SSP, disclosure community, spiritual community, new earth community, rainbow community, whatever you want to call, and you're here for a greater purpose, know that it's the highest infiltrated psyop, can be a psyop running program. And that is what we need to be mindful of, because they've been fucking with us since the very beginning. And if you think you're out, I don't think anyone actually ever gets out, because they know they have fucking tracking devices inside of us. And if some of y'all are not doing detoxes and cleanses, well, wide awake, you probably still have something inside of you. Sorry, that's my rant.
No, um, you touched on something when you were talking about like jumping over the hood of the car and stuff in traffic. And it's something Spin and I have talked about too, is like there was an episode in our lives like 5 years ago. I wasn't even that intoxicated, but my consciousness checked out and something else checked in. It was actually the deciding point of when I put myself into rehab, because I started destroying the home that we lived in and freaked out and was like smashing things and yelling at her and like gnarling and clawing at her. And my eyes actually went to about the color of my shirt, right? I had consciously completely checked out. I was not there. And the reason we are still together is Spin has said on countless occasions, that wasn't you. You weren't even in there. So like I don't know if I got bumped, if I was waiting for knee surgery. I was deep into depression. My energy could not have been any lower. It was the middle of the pandemic. I was going through a horrible emotional time, and I don't know if part of me or a fractal checked out and something grabbed me that night. But yeah, I absolutely get what you mean about being physically there, but you're not there because you're just out.
Yes, yes. It's a scary thing when it happens to you. I ended up I checked into a hospital because I thought I was losing my mind or something that was going on. And something inside of me kept telling me, no, you're not going crazy. Just, stay there, calm down, go through, listen to what they're saying. Um, and I did. I navigated through it, and I got sober, and I haven't looked back. Really, I have no desire to drink. When I look back at the stories, I'm like, wow, it's like night and day. But I can see how things get attached. Things that we're avatars. They are after our soul essence. They will hijack that and put something else into the driver's seat. It's like
Yeah,
that movie, Fallen with Denzel Washington, I think is it Denzel Washington? Um,
I'm
I've
well,
heard of it.
it's
Yeah,
about
I
the
think
angel Azazel. It starts off with a serial killer that kills in the beginning, and it jumps from one body to the next because that's what they do. And regardless of physical person or entity, I think they're all being run by entities.
yeah. Um, no, it was something else that we've been talking about too, is like the amount of things beyond our perception that I don't know where it was on social media. I just saw that they've developed lenses in wearable, like Buddy Holly style glasses that you can see other densities. And they're actually afraid of the technology because they've tested it on military people and it's freaking them the fuck out. Right. It might be one of those psyop leak things that I just stumbled across because I was supposed to say it right now to make myself look like an ass. But it's something I showed the entire family, that they have developed technology to actually be able to force the perception of these other densities. And I'm just going to tout my own opinion. There's a reason we can't perceive the things in other densities right now, because it would fucking freak most of them out.
Yes,
Right.
yes, because when you're in
Go
those
ahead.
high densities, most people don't want to see what is truly there. They've come out with the demon face syndrome now. And me and my older sister were talking about that because she has a friend that claims that she can do it and it freaks her out. And so she asked me about it, and I said, "Oh yeah, I've been seeing that for quite some time." I said, "The first couple of times it happens in front of you, yeah, you're going to have an expression, but when you realize that it's there more than what you want to admit or people want to actually see, um it can be a scary thing because it's very prominent seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about people wearing glasses, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Well, yeah, like I know people that have come out of like plant medicine experiences and been completely changed. If you pop on a pair of Buddy Hollies and all of a sudden can see the gray that's talking to you, you're probably gonna have a fucking heart attack, in my opinion. It's something a lot of people are not ready for, and I've talked to other people about this. Like, I myself have a filing system when I deal with other individuals. Like, it's like, okay, that's where your perception of reality is. Because the last time I had an awakening, it blew the doors wide open. Like, okay, if the
Mm.
SSP is real, that means everything is real. That dragon that lady's talking about is likely real. That lady that had the ghost, the leprechaun, the everything is probably real in some type of density and reality. Right. And it's
Yes.
just fascinating that I don't think mainstream humanity would be ready to just be like, fuck, it's all there.
Yeah.
Is
Well, that shows you how the whole MK Ultra program, that is how strong it is and what they've done. So I've realized, like, I love history. And I love to see what history they put out there, for everyone else. And I put the pieces together because I asked the internal questions. But America, as soon as it was founded, we're the lab rats, pretty much out of all the countries, we were the lab rats that they were able to do a lot of experimentation on it. After after World War II, all those scientists came over here, and that's where they implemented the different projects. The race for space, the MK Ultra, I'm trying to think of the other ones that were running, but You guys know what I'm talking about. All those different programs and projects, they needed people to test them out on because it was undercover, because the way to really take down a nation or take down the world is to keep people sleeping. So, who was doing all the other little things that needed to be done behind the scenes? That was a lot of us kids from the 80s
Oh yeah,
and earlier.
yeah. Like I specifically remember, and it's something I've said before. Like my mom was the school bus driver for the rural community that we lived in. You had to go like 25 minutes to get to a main school, right? She was the school bus driver, and I had an average life. And I remember being on the bus, and I was like 14 years old, and I just there's a voice in my head. You should kill yourself. You should kill yourself. Go home and fucking kill yourself. You should kill yourself. And I went home and I grabbed my dad's 22 off the wall, loaded a hollow point, put it in my mouth. And the neighbor girl came to borrow a video game and interrupted me. I
Great
just
interruption.
about I just about took the command.
Mhm.
Like it was that close that they almost got me to take myself out of my body.
And they do that. I had someone
Oh
close
yeah.
to me
Especially
do something, and I knew right off the bat that it was attack. So, I don't I'm at the point in my journey, I don't dismiss anything. I said the other day, because I'm in Houston, we had that tornado, and I'm watching, outside of the bullshit that I'm having to monitor in my own personal life, what they're doing in the collective, and I noticed that, you know, because people had no power, we had to keep our doors open, and my house, it's old, so it doesn't have screens, and the mosquitoes increased. And I was like, "Oh gosh, here we go. Bill Gates mosquitoes, they're attacking and genetically modified." And what happened this week, an article came out that said that Texas was the first place to find the West Nile virus, and it was in Houston. And I'm like, yeah, here we go. They're going to start spreading diseases and all sorts of things. And I'll talk to like the fly. I'm like, I see you. You're probably a camera right now monitoring stuff. That's probably what these mosquitoes are doing. They're probably collecting DNA on some level. It's I don't dismiss anything. And I know a lot of us have had to go through some crazy, fucked up shit and have a lot of crazy stories to share.
and yeah, I absolutely love that you're getting to the point of being comfortable and like figuring out your memories because it is a weird situation realizing that what I've figured out for myself that there is a stage of my consciousness that is involved in a super soldier program somewhere in the future, and parts of me, parts of my consciousness all needed to be involved, and that involved training in my current reality where I have been
Mhm.
manipulated certain types of the programs to keep me offline because that stage of my consciousness was busy, whatever. But it you fuckers just wiped me. I was onto something there. Shit.
I hate when they do that.
That just took it from me. I apologize.
No, you don't have to apologize for anything because I
Oh,
understand. It's like they hit the delete
yeah.
key.
What it was that a stage of my consciousness is involved in the super soldier program. I here, me, have never been involved in anything beyond air cadets, but I share memory space, storage space with a stage of my consciousness that is involved in this program. I don't know where you fall in that, if yours are this lifetime, past lifetimes, parallel lifetimes, or what. Like where do you feel that your involvement with it is in
All of the
existence?
above, really. I know I do have a soul aspect that is doing something on a specific ship. Again, like I said, I have a strong tie to the planet Pluto. I don't quite know exactly what just yet. I'm still investigating that. But I yes, I do have uh I can access memories of an aspect of myself that is doing something on it. Either it may not be a ship, but some type of like vessel, metal vessel, um, that has to do with something with the planets, probably most likely the planet Pluto. Physically, I feel like I was just put in certain type of different projects, and I was set up to be handled because of what I'm capable of doing and what I'm here to do for the future. And I get a lot of futuristic ideas or things that I know that are about to come or happen that are installing in me so that I can learn how to get ready to do them soon, because we're not far off. It's changing right now. We're in the process of doing it. So, but my role is very outside of being spiritual. It has a lot to do with the technical side of things too.
That you touched on a couple of things there too. I love that you're talking about just getting knowledge, because I have some newfound knowledge of magnets and non fuel based motors and things that have just popped into my head over the last couple of months. But something I wanted to ask you about, because you are aware of the stage of your consciousness that's involved. Do you ever get like the waking overlay? You're about not 80 or 90% in this reality, but you can kind of, I go on a ship sometimes, like while I'm awake. I'll just be like talking to Spinja and be like, yeah, I can see myself walking down a hallway right
Mhm.
now. It's almost like picture in picture, but it's not visibly interfering with my vision.
Yes, yes, I can do that as well. Um, Not like that really came online when I did have my awakening. It took me some time to adjust to it because I didn't quite know what it was, but there are, I don't know how many aspects I have. I know I have a couple of different aspects that are doing different things, different missions is what I'm told, and I can access them in the moment if I concentrate hard enough, or if I want to. I just have to open up that side of it. But the information that I get, they tell me sometimes, like the Pluto, like I've asked several times, and they won't tell me what they won't allow me to open that mission file just yet, because I'm not to know, it's not that point in the journey or the time point. So I'm also keeping track of the time points that we need to. I think futuristically, we set up different place markers that we unlock, unzip, kind of like a video game. We reach a certain level that we open up something else. And that's just kind of how I view and see it. But I can also see other parts of me doing similar things and maybe different dimensions, different places, definitely. But it is happening, even though time doesn't exist, it is happening in real time, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
and it does. I love how you alluded to place markers there too, because it's a theory that I've kicked around in my own head every now and then, is that deja vu is a place marker from yourself. Like,
I've
hey,
thought
pay attention.
I
Do you remember this? Hey, you've been here, right?
Yeah, I have actually thought that too. I had really strong deja vu not that long ago. And that is the awareness that came through when I had it, was like it was something inside of me telling me to pay attention. It was like I was able to get a redo in this moment, and there was something that I needed to observe or pick up or get. So I need to pay attention to more of that. I don't know what happened afterwards to I am pretty sure I got a download or received some type of file, but I was not in my awareness to put the two and two together. I love that.
Yeah. No, it's just something I was kicking around because, like, I used to have another co-host, Angel Wings, and she was talking about some things going on in her personal life, and all of these things kept lining up. And there was the person that she worked with that she kept having deja vu. And like, I'm pretty sure with what you're telling me, those are markers. So like getting to hear this person's experience and how it was interacting with her life when she reacted in certain ways, I was like, you're leaving yourself breadcrumbs. Those are from you. The reason you know this is you showed yourself this.
I
And
like that.
she
That
was
makes
fascinated
sense.
in it. Yeah, it's a theory that I just kind of kick around in my head sometimes. It's like that probably makes sense. Like if time really doesn't exist, then I can go bloop, okay, pay attention, bloop, pay attention, bloop, because we know in our higher consciousness that this stage of us is forced to do this linearly, right? But there's a higher existence of us that can look at the entire game board and just go, okay, he needs to pay attention to this shit. He needs to pay attention to this shit. I'm going to give him deja. Oh, he's going to stub his toe right here and look at this rock, right? Just insignificant little cues that we leave ourselves in our own realities. I think we are actually responsible for our destiny, even in that manner. Like we do try to give ourselves the bonus levels in the game pieces and the little hints to help us get through this, but oftentimes we're too busy rationalizing them away. Like, oh, that's
Mhm.
just deja vu. Like, but it's
Mhm.
like, no, you're telling you something.
That's a program that they've installed in a lot of people and out in the to dismiss things like that. But that
Yeah,
makes complete sense to me. Um, yeah, I mean, I can pick up a lot of different aspects, things that are going on inside. When that's why I really like to meditate. I'm really big into meditation because it can help me formulate what's all going on in my head. I have, this is always on, and it's always collecting data and quantumly in several different databases. I was talking to a friend about accessing the Akashic records, and she's like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I see it as I walk into a room and it's like round and it's all these screens. And if I want to tap into a specific story, I can reach it and blow it up. And that's how I can access the information. But it's all technical. And one aspect of my library. And then I have a whole Hogwarts looking kind of type of library to another section because I'm very mystical. If you go to Rise University, you'll see I'm very mystical. But yeah, I have a technical side of me, and I know that's probably an installed program.
yeah. That actually leads in nicely. I was gonna say, like, in the last 15 minutes, do you really want to go over the university and tell people what you guys are offering, how to get a hold of you? Because, like, I know if our financial system was or situation was different, I would already have been involved. But I've been looking into some of the stuff you guys go over and do there, and it's on the list. So I'd love for you to take some time and really go into it and let everybody know where to go, how to get it, and how to ascend because it's
Yeah,
helpful.
absolutely. I can do that. So finding the right Rise University is super simple. Just go to join the Rise, RISE, evolution.com. That will take you to the main website. And good news for you, Don, it is only $4 to join. That makes you a lifetime member. What $4 gets you is access to pretty much everything we have going on. Rise University is it's not a university, it's an university because everything that you need to know is inside you. We just need help, you accessing it and realizing what your purpose is and why you came here. So, it's when you join Rise University, there's a 6-week mastermind to help you get started. That's included in the membership. There's a library for you to access all sorts of information. I have a community that's starting where you can meet other like-minded individuals. I help people who are visionaries or soulpreneurs, those who are into conscious entrepreneurship, who know that they're here to help the world, make a change in the world in some way, shape, or form. They just need help trying to put that together and figuring out how to do that. And that is where I step in. So, Rise University is operated on tiers, and it's an actual learn as you or earn as you learn platform too. So once you get enrolled as a lifetime member, you can upgrade into the second tier, which is, I think it's $22 a month. And from there, you're under pretty much a six month mentorship. As you go through the courses, I'm going to be uploading different type of masterminds and curriculum for people to go through. Once you build a solid foundation, you have the opportunity to start hosting your own workshops in there, writing for the blog that all gets posted, and level up to where if you want to, you're able to teach on the platform as well, because it's not just about me. We're all going to be coming together to make a change. So I am here to help others really awaken to their purpose, impact them, show them the beauty that they are. Because if you're obviously going to be attracted to SSP. If you're watching this podcast, I know a lot of us know we're here for a greater purpose, but trying to break through all of the shit show that we went through, it's not an easy journey, but that's where I come in. There's a whole like database of different tools that you can utilize. I am esoteric. I can be classified as woo-woo too, mystical. So if you are interested in learning about things of human design, astrology, mindfulness, alchemy, herbalism, the truth, different stories, history, mystical stuff. It is a choose your own adventure platform. Who loved choose your own adventure books when you were younger? I did too. So not everybody needs to focus on the business aspect. They may want to focus on developing more of a spiritual side or a personal development side, or they may have already have that stuff and they want to know how to package all of their gifts together and serve the world. So that's where I step in, and through Rise University, you can level up through that as well. I own a agency. It's called Unity Works Agency. It's really only by referral. But this is where we help people who really want to make a change in the world do all the technical stuff. Some people are just not technical. So they need help building the website. They don't want to learn how to do it on their own, and vice versa. And then you can also go through that program as well. We can help you get that started. But if you can go to either website, I'll make sure that you have the links. If you want to go check out the fulldisclosuremovement.org, that I developed that website, the creation of it. Along with Dawn and a couple of the other team members, we're doing a lot of the technical work, videos, doing graphics, getting the information out there. But that's just what my mission file is. I'm considered the techie shaman. So
No, so that was a wonderful explanation of everything you got going on. And I was even going to ask you to touch on the full disclosure now movement too before we went, but you did it without being asked. That's awesome. A little bit of connectivity there, I think.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, definitely been amazing, and would love to have you back on when I can like sit and I have so much like I got like a half a page of notes that I got to go over now of just subjects because I could expand it into like three more shows.
Mhm.
If you're willing to come back on in a month or so and we can revisit some of this and the new
Yeah.
developments, I'd love to have you back on and we can talk about what's going on more then.
Yeah, we can expand on I love having these type of conversations. It helps me because I have the information inside of me. I need someone to help pull it out. So,
Yeah.
and through human design, I have the storytelling gate. So the channel, that's where I kind of get long-winded. It's but I'm so
Yeah,
grateful to have you had me on the show today. Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
speaking of human design, I'm sure Spin would not mind sitting listening to you talk about it for an entire hour because she's absolutely fascinated every time you bring it up. Her ears perk up, and she has a show too. Just saying. Uh, so we could probably set something up there.
Yes, yes.
Uh, But yeah, absolutely. All of the links will be in the description, guys. Go check out her channel, her university, full disclosure now, Canadian Spinja, because she's my interdimensional exit buddy and I love the shit out of her. And I just hope everybody else has a great weekend and a good night. And thank you all.
Bye.
Extra made this beat. Some of these lyrics are from Don Rodney. Show some love.
A year ago, thought my life at peak. Fast axe in hand, grinding 6 days a week. Dreaming big till nightmares took the scene. Visions of galaxies, places I'd never been. Worlds collided, fact from fiction torn. My new fam awake and reborn. Love of my life said watch this show. Next thing you know, into a trance I go. Into a trance we all go. Whoa. I was hypnotized live in front of all your eyes, seeing the end and beginning no disguise. Now I don't dream alone, we're a collective. Thousands of friends, our bonds so effective.
Our bonds so effective. Are you reflective? Is it effective?
Big brother shark, we're about to drop the hook. Remember the universe, give it a second look. We're all stardust in this cosmic blend. The universe is us, my friend, and hypnotized live in front of all your eyes, seeing the end and beginning, no disguise. Now I don't dream alone, we're a collective. Thousands of friends, our bonds effective. Hypnotized live in front of all your eyes, seeing the end and beginning, no disguise. Now I don't dream alone, we're a collective. Thousands of friends, our bonds so effective. Super soldier nightmare. Super soldier nightmares. Super soldier nightmares got me awakening beyond my fears. I'm living with super soldier nightmares. Now action Scorpios on this flow, he's letting it go in the freestyle. We all know the super soldier nightmares are bringing in the past years. The judgments and everything else brings me so many scares. I'm living my life though, doing things right. I don't give a fuck about the government's corruptional site. I'm living my life and we're gonna be alright. Alright. This is made for you, Don Rogers. Super soldier nightmares.
Soldier nightmares.